Michael was there for my first job, which was a short film directed by Lyndall Hobbs, his great friend who's here.
There was a time when Greta Scacchi was among the most alluring and gifted actresses working today. She was a fearless actress with a classic good looks and a career that took her all over the world. People remember Scacchi for more than just her stellar performances and impressive accolades. She became embroiled in one of Hollywood's most notorious scandals due to her tumultuous relationships, contentious decisions, and, most shockingly, the revelation that she had a child with her own first cousin. Even though she turned down a legendary role in Basic Instinct, a move that few would have dared to make at the time, Scacchi was once Hollywood's darling and the first choice for captivating leading roles. She appeared to be well on her way to stardom as her career took off. However, her career took a nosedive at a rate no one had anticipated after she made a single poor decision. She went from being a household name to a relative obscurity in the blink of an eye, shocking even Hollywood. A controversy arose. Everyone was taken aback. As soon as Scacchi's time in the spotlight ended, the doors to Hollywood shut. What transpired? Why would a famous actress, who is currently enjoying the height of her career, ruin everything on her own? Notoriety, love, tragedy, controversy, and unexpected decisions all come together in this gripping tale. And if you thought you'd heard it all when it comes to the biggest scandals in Hollywood, Greta Scacchi's story is completely out of this world. A member of an artistically prominent family, Greta Scacchi came into this world on February 18, 1960, in Milan, Italy. Luca Scacchi was an art dealer and painter, and Pamela was a talented dancer. At the age of 4, her parents divorced, shattering her idyllic plans for a carefree childhood immersed in the artistic community. For her, and for the family as a whole, this split was the final straw that broke the camel's back. Following their journey to London, Paul and Tom made their home in Sussex, England. This sudden shift separated two worlds that Greta lived in throughout her childhood. After arriving in England, she found herself thrust into a more regimented and controlled lifestyle. But each time she went back to Italy to see her dad, she entered a different world. She spent her time in Milan surrounded by art and culture. It wasn't merely a matter of language barriers. Greta felt torn between the two worlds, the tame and disciplined one in England and the wild and free one in Italy. Because of this glaring difference, she felt like she never truly belonged anywhere. The family moved to Perth, Australia, and her mother remarried a university professor named Giovanni Coringa in 1975, marking the next significant turning point in their lives. Adapting to a new setting was something Greta had to do again. While in Perth, she found her true calling as a performer after joining the school theatre. But her passion for the arts couldn't save her from financial hardships. Greta worked as an Italian interpreter, a farmhand, and a livestock herder in order to make ends meet. She was able to make a living and develop the strong, independent character traits that would be essential to her acting career as a result of these experiences. Greta had a passion for acting that began at a young age, but she never envisioned a career in Hollywood. The stage, in her view, was the very embodiment of artistic expression. She jumped at the chance to attend the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, widely recognized as one of England's most elite acting schools, because she was passionate about acting. She initially established the groundwork for her acting career in that demanding environment. Quickly establishing her talent, Greta Scacchi began her career with small parts in television shows and commercials. Das Zweitgesicht, her first feature film, was released in 1982, and it showcased her unwavering commitment as an actress who would stop at nothing to completely inhabit a role. Scacchi studied German extensively so she could play the part in this German film with authenticity. This was a demonstration of her commitment and a precursor to her unwavering acting style, which would come to characterize her career. The role of Olivia in the 1983 Merchant Ivory production Heat and Dust was the one that really catapulted her to stardom, though. The part of Olivia was nuanced and multifaceted. She was a Western woman who fell head over heels for the Indian culture and a forbidden love affair. As a young actress on the rise, Scacchi faced a formidable obstacle in taking on daring, intimate scenes for the film, which called for nuanced acting. Olivia is engrossed in a passionate affair with the enigmatic Indian nobleman Nawab in a scene that stands out in the film. The stifling tropical heat intensifies the tension between them as they stand in a room with flickering oil lamps casting long shadows. Scacchi exudes an air of bare, sensual desire as she appears nude, her figure unrestrained. The action builds gradually and purposefully. The storytelling is artistic and eloquent, capturing the unbridled surge of emotions without any haste. There is a complete absence of shyness and discomfort. When Scacchi gives into the part, Olivia is free to escape the constraints of Western society and experience sensual, forbidden desires. She was propelled to Hollywood stardom after the film's smashing success. Scacchi swiftly rose to stardom in the United States after appearing in a number of films set in Europe. Hollywood was captivated by a face that possessed an air of mystery and beauty that would never fade. She became a symbol of roles that were both frightened and fierce, delicate and smart. She was among the most promising European actresses on the American screen because of this rare combination. Despite her incredible ascent to fame, Scacchi was oblivious to the fact that her future decisions would propel her career in an unfathomable trajectory. After achieving stardom with Heat and Dust, Greta Scacchi wasted little time establishing herself with a string of iconic roles that pushed her to her artistic and emotional limits. She made a big splash in 1987 with White Mischief, a film about a dangerous affair that involved British aristocrats in Kenya and the complex web of seduction and treachery that surrounded them. Her reputation as an actress who fearlessly inhabits nuanced roles was further cemented by the film, which also thrust her into the limelight. Hidden beneath the haze of the African moonlight, Diana and her lover have a passionate rendezvous outside of a magnificent estate in one of the most iconic scenes of the film. Careful planning went into the romantic scene. Appreciated not merely for its aesthetic appeal but also for the unfiltered feelings it expressed, depicting a woman caught between careless desire and the dread of certain doom. Presumed Innocent, a legal drama and forbidden affairs-heavy psychological thriller that Scacchi co-starred in with Harrison Ford in 1990, was another huge step forward for the actress. The tension in the film was amplified by her portrayal of a prosecutor who was caught in an ambiguous relationship with Ford's character. Their electric on-screen chemistry was one of the most riveting dynamics of the time, as their sexual desire and secret motives clashed in a thrilling confrontation. However, Greta Scacchi didn't make a real splash in Hollywood until 1992, when she starred in Robert Altman's The Player. The film included a controversial nude scene from the 1990s and was a scathing satire on the film industry. Without any clever angles or softer lighting to mask the truth, Scacchi appeared naked for nearly an entire minute in an audacious and unguarded moment. The scene was symbolic and provocative at the same time, exposing the actress and the entertainment industry at a time when they were still embarrassed to show such vulnerability. It wasn't gratuitous for Scacchi to be nude. An artistic statement, it was fundamental to the character's persona as she exposed her soul and body in a power and illusion-driven world. A small number of actresses would have been willing to take the risk. Taking on the role of Mrs. Weston in Emma showcased Scacchi's versatility, in addition to her sensual and mysterious roles. In 1996, her portrayal in the Jane Austen adaptation, which garnered her critical praise, was more nuanced and detached from the alluring persona she had once inhabited. Provocative scenes weren't necessary for her to shine. She was able to captivate audiences in any role she played thanks to her mastery of expression, voice, and poised elegance. It wasn't only Scacchi's outstanding performances that made an impression on Hollywood, it was also her steadfast dedication to her principles. One of the seminal films of the 90s, Basic Instinct, offered her a part, but she politely declined. A project that could have propelled her to even greater fame she decided to abandon due to her distaste for the screenplay and her disagreement with director Paul Verhoeven's approach. It was a bold risk to take, although it highlighted Scacchi's reluctance to give in to fame's allure. She refused to be the type of actress who compromised her craft for the sake of financial gain. Scacchi constantly received renowned accolades for her talent, even though she took high-stakes risks. Her 1996 Emmy for Rasputin, Dark Servant of Destiny, in which she played Queen Alexandra, was well-deserved. A part in history that helped her adapt to different situations. Beyond that, she went on to win the AFI Award for Best Supporting Actress in 2000 for Looking for Alibrandi, demonstrating that her acting chops went well beyond the sensual parts that launched her career. Greta Scacchi fell head over heels for Vincent D'Onofrio, the brilliant actor who became famous in Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket, when she was at the peak of her career. Their love story was anything but ordinary, it was a whirlwind of intense feelings that brought them closer together in a profound bond. They quickly rose to prominence as one of Hollywood's most alluring couples. Scacchi, with her timeless charm, and D'Onofrio, with his rough-and-tumble personality. The intensity, however, frequently hinted at tragedy, as is the case with many Hollywood love stories. Unfathomably, she loved D'Onofrio, but their love would not endure. Discord in their relationship became apparent after the 1992 birth of their daughter Layla George. They broke up in tears just 6 months after Layla was born. Whatever it was that caused them to break up, Scacchi never hid her pain. Her life plummeted after the breakup, and she found herself all alone. She disappeared from television for 4 years as she struggled to regain her footing. It was a devastating blow for a woman who had once had it all: beauty, fame, a successful career, to lose love and be on the verge of Hollywood's extinction. She was unable to work or concentrate on anything other than her agony. Scacchi later acknowledged in an interview that this was the lowest point in her life, when her love life crumbled and she lost all sense of self. For a number of years, I was unable to work because my whole being was devoted to the relationship. After 4 years of suffering, my career was ruined. She lost more than just D'Onofrio, she also lost her motivation, her aspirations, and the limelight that had once characterized her. In Hollywood, even a single second of stillness can result in total forgetfulness. For those 4 years, Scacchi avoided the spotlight, didn't try to re-establish her career, and didn't play any new roles. This, though, she started to grasp as the days of hopelessness drew to a close. In the end, she had to find a way to escape the agony. I am now feeling very triumphant. I am grateful to have made it through this difficult time. She had moved on from the pain of loss and broken hearts. She used them as fuel. But with her decision to return, Hollywood underwent a transformation. She had lost all claim to the lead parts. The casting directors who had been interested in her before had moved on to someone younger. Scacchi made a surprising decision in order to stay alive. One would assume that Greta Scacchi would be more cautious in her romantic pursuits following her breakup with Vincent D'Onofrio. However, Scacchi quickly became involved in one of the most shocking romances of her era, as Hollywood is not the place for discreet love affairs. One of the most iconic actors of the modern era, Daniel Day-Lewis, was the central figure this time around. An enigmatic and unpredictable man. Scacchi was single this time around, in contrast to her prior relationships. Daniel Day-Lewis had once adored the stunning French actress Isabelle Adjani with undying devotion. The two were now in a long-term relationship. Adjani was famous for her beauty and talent. Even though they were both aware of this, Day-Lewis and Scacchi threw themselves into their embraces like two inferno flames that couldn't be put out. Under wraps it all started. At private events, Scacchi and Day-Lewis were seen having late-night meals together, with their eyes meeting for an awkwardly long moment. Speculation would be stoked whenever they vanished from prominent events simultaneously. Both initially denied the affair, but the truth started to emerge when photos were leaked. When Isabelle Adjani came clean about being betrayed, it was the last straw. An insider claims that Adjani knew about the affair for quite some time, but she chose to stay silent out of a desire to preserve her relationship with Day-Lewis. At some point, she could take it no longer. Her interview speech was a mixture of pain and dignity, as she spoke out. Even though I gave him the most memorable years of my life, maybe it wasn't enough. Adjani wasn't the only one whose world came crashing down when the scandal broke. Day-Lewis and Scacchi's relationship fell apart in no time. True to form, the man was renowned for his untiability. After saying goodbye to Isabelle Adjani, he did the same to Scacchi. The affair came to a quick close, but the scars it left behind were never completely healed. Scacchi, who had a reputation for being an independent actress, was now tarnished by one of the most notorious adultery scandals in Hollywood. Even though there were chances for her career to revive, the stain would always be there. Imagine if this wasn't the biggest shock she'd ever experienced. What followed would shock everyone to their core. Already, Greta Scacchi's scandalous but passionate relationship with Daniel Day-Lewis had shaken Hollywood to its core. Not only would her subsequent choice rock the entertainment industry, but it would also shake her own family to its core. Scacchi did not seek a new beginning with a new partner after a string of failed relationships. Instead, she followed an unexpected path. Her first cousin Carlo Montagazza was her choice. Outraged by the relationship, both her family and the general public were quick to voice their disapproval. A distant relative was not Carlo Montagazza. Her father's sister bore him a son. His lineage makes him her first cousin. They were cousins, but unlike most cousins, they weren't very close when they were kids and only became close as adults. Greta and Carlo crossed paths when Carlo emigrated from Italy to Australia, where both had established second homes. They had similar worldviews and shared artistic sensibilities, which led to an unexpected bond. What began as a strong bond within the family blossomed into something more profound. Things got considerably more complicated when their relationship evolved from a familial bond to a romantic one. The family was rocked when word got out that Scacchi was seeing her first cousin and was pregnant with their child. Her father, Greta Scacchi, was a staunch supporter of traditional Italian values and the most vocal opponent. Devastated was he. Intolerant of what he perceived as a betrayal of the dignity of his family. The situation escalated to an irreparable level as other Italian relatives responded with equal venom, some even cutting off all relations. However, shock extended beyond the immediate family. The news broke, and public and media sentiment erupted. Though not strictly forbidden, cousin marriages continued to be socially unacceptable in Italy and the rest of Europe. The media questioned the possible effects on their children and society at large, delving into ethical and genetic concerns in their coverage of the scandal. Scacchi remained steadfast in the face of the criticism. "It is entirely legal," she said in a defiant interview, adding that people were shocked. Carlo and she stayed committed to each other despite the intense scrutiny they endured. They welcomed their son, Matteo, in 1998, and he is a living testimony to their choice to go their own way, despite what society thought. Even though they appeared to be overcoming all obstacles, the truth was anything but perfect. Despite their best efforts, their relationship was always weighed down by outside forces. Never did family tensions, social stigma, and persistent whispers go away. Secretly broke up in 2010. Unlike the high-profile Hollywood divorces that frequently made headlines, there was no public announcement, no legal battles, and no dramatic accusations. A similar hush fell over the proceedings as they came to a close. Their close associates claimed that they just grew apart over time, rather than animosity or treachery, as the cause of their split. The sole thing they kept in common was their determination to share parenting responsibilities for their son, Matteo. As befits her reserved personality, Scacchi kept mum about the split, as if she wanted no one to ever hear about it. Despite their best efforts to keep it under wraps, the scandal surrounding Greta Scacchi and Carlo Montagazza's relationship continues to ensnare Hollywood. Some part of her life that history will always remember. In light of its startling rejection of norms, Greta Scacchi was just another example of how Hollywood has a history of being cruel to actresses who have outlived their physically attractiveness. The roles that were offered to her had diminished by the time she reached her 40s, they consisted mostly of shallow characters, mothers, ex-wives, or uninspired supporting roles. In sharp contrast, male actors maintained their access to leading roles well into old age. Scacchi refused to be silenced and spoke out strongly against the sexism and ageism she witnessed in the film industry. Actress Sheila Efron made a public statement that she was tired of supporting male leads and wanted to find roles where her emotions could shine. This was more than just her fight, it was a call to arms for all the beautiful actresses Hollywood had forgotten about, even though they were talented. But the struggle wasn't confined to the screen for Scacchi. Unexpectedly, she also became a leading voice in environmental activism. She went shirtless with a gigantic codfish in 2010 for the Fish Love campaign, which sought to bring attention to the problems of overfishing and the degradation of the ocean. "I felt it right away when I saw the picture. Both in terms of its daringness and the profound meaning it conveys. The seas will soon be empty if humans do not alter our ways." This wasn't just an advertising ploy. A real difference was made by the campaign. More stringent regulations on large-scale fishing in Europe were prompted by discussions sparked by Fish Love, which attracted the attention of politicians and environmental activists. That the impact one has in the actual world, rather than accolades alone, is the true measure of one's legacy. Her reputation was further cemented on stage by her daring and demanding performances. A major turning point in her career as a stage actor came when she was nominated for a Sydney Theatre Award for her performance as Queen Elizabeth I in Mary Stuart. But for all her acting accomplishments, the Deep Blue Sea was the emotional zenith. More than just a part, this was it. It mirrored Scacchi's personal life. Hester Collier, the woman she played, was a risk-taker who fell into despair after giving her all for love. This is remarkably similar to what Scacchi has experienced in real life. In her pursuit of authenticity, she had the courage to love, fight, and endure scandal. Scacchi left an indelible mark on Hollywood even though she was no longer a beauty queen. She could have demonstrated her value without ever setting foot on the red carpet. Her fights for women's rights, art, and environmental protection persisted. And that is an indisputable legacy. Even at the age of 64, Greta Scacchi is still very much an artist at heart, taking on new roles in films and TV shows that test her abilities. She played the mysterious Joan in the 2023 psychological thriller Run Rabbit Run, which added to the suspenseful mood of the picture. Fans of psychological thrillers were captivated when this work, which featured Sarah Snook, was released on Netflix on June 28, 2023. Bodies, a TV series that Scacchi appeared in that same year, showcased her versatility as an actress by combining elements of science fiction and crime investigation. She stays out of needless drama in the entertainment industry by opting for a private life in England, despite her active involvement in the arts. Scacchi enjoys spending time with her family and pursuing her true passions now that she is no longer frequently mentioned in the media. This is in sharp contrast to her dynamic and occasionally controversial past. Even though Scacchi keeps a low profile in the media, she is still involved in major artistic events. She paid tribute to the timeless work she had worked on by attending a Merchant Ivory screening on March 16, 2024, in London as part of BFI Flair 2024. Her career, art, and personal views on the film industry were the topics of her speech at the Gabunco Gibraltar Literary Festival, which she gave on September 2, 2024. From December 5, 2024, through January 11, 2025, Scacchi made a triumphant return to the stage with Bet and Joan, which took place at Park Theatre London. This decision is in line with Scacchi's current outlook on life, which emphasizes protecting her privacy, living a simple life, and making personal contributions to the arts. She has finally achieved equilibrium after enduring major changes in both her professional and personal lives. This was no easy task in the glitzy but dangerous Hollywood industry. The life of Greta Scacchi is an exemplar of daring decisions, perseverance, and the ebb and flow of fame. She went from being a cinematic queen to being at the center of several scandalous incidents in Hollywood. She was once a superstar, admired for her stunning good looks and incredible talent. Still, she had no qualms about making decisions that rocked the globe. Regardless of the reception she received, her decisions demonstrated that she was a fearless individual who dared to live her life as she saw fit. Whether you love her or hate her, Greta Scacchi will forever be remembered as a landmark figure in Hollywood history. Is she a symbol of individual liberty who deserves condemnation or praise? Leave a comment with your ideas. In order to continue discovering the most shocking stories in Hollywood, please like and subscribe.